Let me tell you something. Breaking into my own house was way harder than it used to be. My mother and her damn paranoia had this fancy alarm system set up last summer, right when DB left to write in Hollywood. I don't know why he chose to live there. It's an actual dump. All these fake wannabe internet stars thinking they're the next Leonardo DiCaprio or something. He's writing for this movie. So fake I can't even remember the name of it. Anyway, when I finally got in through the back door, the goddamn alarm started beeping. It wasn't quiet either. I jumped, half expecting my dad running out with a baseball bat like a madman, thinking someone had come to steal his 70-inch flat screen. But nobody came. I shuffled over to the alarm to turn it off. The password was my brother Allie's birthday. I sighed. Everything in this house, since he died, reminded me of him. I zipped up my red North Face jacket I got a while ago in town. I loved that jacket. It was so soft and kept me warm. I tugged and messed with the zipper. My old roommate at Pensy, Stradlater, said it was some nervous habit of mine. I reassured him I had nothing to be nervous about, that I just liked to mess with it to get on his nerves. And hell, did that zipper get on his last nerve. I quickly made my way over to my little sister Phoebe's room. After what felt like years, I made it to old Phoebe's room. I pushed the door open. It creaked a bit, but glid with ease. I peered in. Her bed was empty. I pulled my phone out of my pocket. The bright screen glared the time, 12:08 a.m. She wouldn't, and could not be out this late, so I assumed she was in DB's room. He had a giant bed and TV. No wonder she'd want to be in there. I took one last look in her room. A whole hell of a lot has changed since I had been at that fake Pensy prep. Her desk was littered with notebooks. She loved to write. I think she secretly wanted to be like DB. I flipped through a few, mostly just daily journals or notes and letters she was too busy to send. But one notebook caught my attention. It was a poetry book, all written by her favorite poets. My favorite was, "To everything there is a season, a time of gladness, grief and cheer, smiles of laughter, sadness of tears. For every sunset there's a sunrise. There is no rainbow without the rain, no summertime without the spring, golden days and frosty nights, icy winds throughout the days, with winter's newly fallen snows, whose years are like the seasons, let the future hold no doubt. There'll come a change of scene, with rain-bound skies of hope and love. I have seen your different faces. Life is like the changing seasons. Upwards always climb, as the season change as we." My eyes were glued to the page for hours. It depressed me. But I had to go see Phoebe before I hitchhiked off across the country. DB's room was just next door to her room. The door was wide open, and I could see her sprawled on the queen-size bed. She looked so peaceful. I almost didn't want to wake her, but I couldn't help myself. I gently shook her awake. Her eyes fluttered, then quickly shut open. "OMG, Holden, you're home," she yelled. I quickly shushed her. Yeah, but you have to be quiet. We don't want to wake up Mom and Dad," I whispered. She rolled her eyes and stood up. "They're out for the night," she said, like I was already supposed to know that. "Okay, I just wanted to talk for a minute, instead of texting you," I said, calming down, knowing my old man wasn't home. She began telling me everything I had missed in the year I was gone, from Dad getting a brand new Ferrari to add to his extensive car collection. I could name them all for you, but I'm not in the mood to. To her frequent trips to the mall with friends I've never heard of. Suddenly, she paused. A wave of confusion replaced her excited look on her face. "Why are you home so early?" I didn't want to lie to her, so I stayed silent. She gasped. "You got kicked out again, didn't you?" I stayed quiet. "Dad's gonna kill you. You're dead," she cried. That's the thing about Phoebe. She was super overdramatic when she wanted to be. She was shivering from crying, so I did what first came to mind. I unzipped my North Face jacket and laid it on top of her. Her cries stopped. "Don't you need this? It's cold out," she said, sounding more and more like Mom. "Nah, I'll be fine. If I get cold, I'll go into a Taco Bell or McDonald's or some shit." She cut me off. "Language!" I rolled my eyes. "Right. All right, kid. I'm gonna leave before Mom and Dad get home." She started to whine. When will I see you again? Soon, kid. I promise. And with that, I rushed out of her room and ran out the back door, just in time to see my old man's Ferrari pull up to the front. But they didn't see me. They never did. I wandered the park for hours that night. I had a plan, though, to see Phoebe again. The sun finally began to rise. People were now walking around, going wherever their lives were taking them. I saw a girl around my age on her phone. I walked up, feeling lonely and desperate as hell. I asked her, "Do you know why the seasons change?" She looked up with an angry and confused face. "What?" I asked her again. She rolled her eyes. "I don't know." She went back to texting, but I really wanted to know. Why do they just come and go? It's like this cycle that never ends. Yet everything is always different. She responded with, "That's just life, kid," and walked away. I was so lonely at that point, I decided to take a risky move and call Phoebe out of school, pretending to be our father. I looked up the number and called. The lady that picked up sounded ancient and actually believed me. Phoebe got to leave at 12:30. I began the short walk to the elementary school. I laughed at how easy it was to get Phoebe out, but then became mad that they didn't make sure I was actually her dad. Just anyone could pick her up and take her away. I saw Phoebe walking down the school steps. "You're not Dad." I walked up closer. "I told you I'd see you soon, kid." "Where are we going?" she smiled. I thought a minute, then replied, "The arcade?" We began walking. When we stopped. "You're leaving today, aren't you?" Her eyes already filling with tears. "Yeah, I thought we'd hang one more time at our spot." She loved video games, but she always needed me, Allie, or DB's help. "Well, then I'm coming with you," she said. I wanted to bring her, I really did, but I just couldn't. No, you have school and friends. Also, don't forget Mom and Dad. You can't just leave." She crossed her arms. "Yes, I can," she pouted. I hated that she was upset. "Phoebe, She walked away, ignoring me. I went to catch up to her, but she moved to the other side of the street. She wasn't hard to spot wearing the bright red jacket, but damn, she was stressing me out. When we arrived in front of the arcade, she finally crossed the street and stood next to me. We walked in, and the sounds of machines and games filled my ears. We used to always go there. DB, Allie, Phoebe, and I. Allie would say it's retro. It really was, but we loved it anyways. Phoebe would always want to play the hardest games, maybe to try and prove herself. But as always, a minute in, she'd ask for help, and one of us would always help. Everything stayed the same there. They never moved or changed out games for more modern versions. Just the way I liked it, nothing ever changing. "I'll go get you some tokens." I walked over to the cash register, but was grabbed on the arm. "Aren't you going to play? I'm not that mad at you anymore," Phoebe said. "I'm just going to watch you this round. Besides, if you need help, I'll be right behind you." She frowned, but agreed. I walked to the counter and bought a few tokens. I began to feel sick. I guess being out all night without a jacket was finally getting to me. I handed Phoebe the tokens. She reached up and put her small hand on my forehead. "Holden, you feel warm. Do you feel all right?" I began shivering a bit. "I'm fine, just a cold or something." What she did next damn near made me cry. She unzipped the red jacket and put it around my shoulders. "You just need to warm up," she said. "I gave this to you. I don't need it. It's yours," I replied, grabbing for the jacket to hand back to her. She stopped me. "I'll take it back when you're better. I don't need it at the moment." And with that, she took the tokens and went to play a game. I just sat and watched her. She didn't even ask for help once. She just kept losing and trying again. I guess you have to let a kid lose sometimes to understand and learn from their mistakes. "Yes," Phoebe cheered and ran over to me. I looked at the screen and it read victory. "Holden, look, I finally did it." She gave me a big hug, and in that moment, I realized what I needed to do. "I'm not going." She let go. "You really mean it? You're staying?" I don't know what it was, if it was Phoebe's first win or being in a place that never changes. I decided I needed to stay. "Yes, now finish up your tokens." She gave me another long squeeze, then ran to another machine. And for once, nothing seemed so depressing. I smiled and watched as Phoebe intensely played. I missed moments like these. I leaned against the wall, letting my jacket zipper hit the wall every few seconds. I didn't even want to mess with it. I didn't want anything to ruin that perfect moment.